Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to BHL Hockey. Tonight's game is between the visiting Hartford Whalers looking to defend their championship that they won a year ago, or a season ago. But they must make it through the town squad, the Shenandoah Scorched, who look to win this one in best of 7 series. All they gotta do is win twice to move on. And the winner of this series faces Indy Lutz and his Indianapolis Racers in the second and final round, where the BHL Cup will be handed to the winner.
Looking at the
Alongside
stats. Oh, go ahead.
Alongside me tonight is referee Flashee.
How's it going? So, looking at the stats now, the Scorched ended up in second place in the season, being 6-4, and the Whalers went 5-4-1, coming in third place. Both teams are in the positive on the goal differential. The Hartford Whalers having 18 and the Scorch only having 8. On the power play, Shenandoah is 50% and Hartford is only 14%. And both about equal on the penalty kill, around 80% for both squads. Shenandoah having a ridiculous 14 penalty minutes while Hartford only has 3.5. So that could be a difference maker, but both teams very good at killing penalties. Shenandoah a lot better at power plays, so that could shine in this game. As for the player standings, the Whalers have 3 players in the top 10, while Rojo Guapo is the only player for the Scorched in the top 10. Coming below, Birdo and Oileritter. So, 2 of the best players in the league playing tonight. And it should be a good one. What are your predictions from this series, DMP?
Well, I'm gonna stick with what I put in my bracket, and that is a 2-game sweep for the Hartford Whalers.
Mm-hmm.
They were strong last year, and I think since they have pretty much the exact same team that they had last year, this year, I think they're gonna be able to do much of the same, seeing as the rest of the league, really all season long, has posed no threat. Except for one team, and that was the Hollywood Hat-Tricks, which unfortunately for you, Flashee, since you are one of those Hollywood Hat-Tricks,
I am.
were eliminated in the first round in a 3-game series by the Indianapolis Racers.
And I'm gonna blame it on the President's Trophy. The darn curse. It's from the NHL and it's followed its way into the BHL.
Well, it'll be interesting to say the least, because it's looking like it might be a 3-on-1 if Rojo can't get any more teammates to help him out.
And that would be detrimental to this team if they can't get at least 2 more players. Now, Comrade Ginger, one of the Scorched players, had previously said they were going to show up, as well as Tortoise, but neither are here, and we are 10 minutes past game time. So we are probably going to have to start this game.
Well, last I checked, it's harder to win with 1 player, and but I mean, to be fair, all season long, it's kind of been a situation of, if the Scorched don't have Rojo present, they lose. If they have Rojo present, they win. And I think in games that Rojo has played, they are undefeated, and in games that Rojo has failed to show, they have never won.
And I think you're right on that statistic. Yeah, Rojo and his team, being team captain on his team, They their last game of the season was against the Whalers, and they won that game. But obviously, that was not with just himself. So this could be the first time this team loses with Rojo playing, and that would be unprecedented in the BHL. This is their first year in the BHL, and we've yet to have an expansion team go on to win. Could this be the year? Not likely as of now. And apparently Tortoise is getting online. So
Well, that could change a lot of things for
definitely
the
can.
Shenandoah Scorched, because I think that Rojo with one teammate might just be about as good as an entire Hartford Whalers team.
And that's saying a lot.
Rojo's been a great member of this Shenandoah Scorched team, and actually he was an awesome member of the Vancouver Orcas before they were dismantled at the end of the last season following their Cup final loss to the Hartford Whalers. So Rojo definitely wants to avenge his loss last season as a member of the Orcas, but it doesn't seem that any of what he was able to do last season has gotten any worse.
Right. So we should be getting started about any minute now. We're just waiting for one more player to join, and just to be fair to both teams, we'll give a little bit of time. Now, the game was rescheduled from earlier today by Oil, who needed it to be rescheduled. And now we'll give that courtesy to Rojo as he waits for his last teammate, or possible last teammate, to get online. So I'll be officiating this game, and then DNP will be commentating.
Well, this series, this league is all about making sure that everybody has a fair chance. We may not have been able to do as great of a job in the past, but we're definitely working to rectify the situation, and I think this right here, especially with playoffs, making sure that everybody's able to get all the players that they can within a reasonable amount of time on is definitely a way to boost.
And I think while we have a moment here, we should probably go ahead and, there's Tortoise, go ahead and announce that in the off season, which will be a reasonable amount of time, we're going to be doing different types of tournaments, and those tournaments won't be fully statistically kept, but they will have first place and second place and third place recorded, and they will be sign-ups. The first tournament is starting on Monday. The players are already set for that, but after that, sign-ups will be required for the next couple tournaments that will come in the postseason, or in the off-season rather, and those will be definitely a lot of fun, and there'll be 1v1s and 2v2s, so should be fun to join.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think those are open to players who aren't even registered as part of an official BHL team.
Of course.
So if you haven't had a chance to play for one of the BHL teams, this could be a great way to show your skills, have a little bit of fun, get on the ice, find the back of the net a couple of times, and just get your stuff out there so that you might find yourself playing in the big leagues come season 4.
Yep, it's a very good way to get started, and most of these tournaments will be double eliminations, so you lose one, you're not out. You go into the loser bracket. But with that said, we're gonna get started. And by the way, if you do want to join those tournaments, just go ahead and click the Discord link in the description. That will take you over to the Discord, and you can read announcements, that announcements channel. Scroll up a little bit and find out more about that. But without further ado, I think we are ready to start this game. This is round 1 Game number 1, Hartford Whalers and Shenandoah Scorched.
And I think this is going to be a pretty good series. We'll see how things go. Remember, it is a best of 3, which means that the first team to win 2 games moves on to the next round. And also, should these games not be decided by regulation, we will head to continuous sudden death overtime, meaning that this game will continue until someone scores. And I think, honestly, that is the best way to decide a hockey game. None of this penalty shootout stuff belongs in the playoffs. So, great job on the BHL, making sure that we get those continuous overtimes. Set and ready to go. Berto and Rojo in the face-off circle for game number 1 of the first round. And Rojo lost it, but somehow the puck ended up into the offensive zone temporarily, but finds its way onto the Shenandoah bench. We'll get a stoppage of play. Now, another interesting thing to note is that so far in this season of playoff games, we've seen a team show up with a surplus of players, and a team show up one short of having enough to play. And so far in this in this second season, the team that has shown up with 2 players has not won the series. They've had a chance, but it just seems that having all your guys is definitely the way to go. As Berto now regrouping, trying to get back through Rojo, and Rojo tried to get through center, didn't quite do so. Puck comes back in. Berto knocked away by Tardis. Berto across trying to find Jets, and Jets didn't get the shot away that he would have liked to, and ends up turning it over to Rojo, whose attempt at getting further down ice is blocked here by Berto. Berto back in, gets it on net, and making the save is Tardis. Back across, fires, and there's the rebound. They score! Whalers strike first. And we have a fan on the ice. Amnesio stepped onto the ice surface after the goal had been put in. The goal will still count, but Amnesio back into spectator mode so as not to interfere with play. So far in this series, interesting to note that the team that has, or so far in these playoffs, the team that has scored first has won every game. Game 1, the Hartford Whaler, or Game 1. Game 1 in Hollywood, the Indianapolis Racers got the first tally, and then the Patricks, almost came back, had it tied at 2, and then surrendered 2 more to the Racers before the Racers took that one. Then in game 2, the Hollywood hat-trick struck first on the, I believe it was a power play goal that gave Patrick's a 1-0 lead. It was tied, and then the hat-tricks won in overtime, and then game number 3 was a 4-0 final score towards the Racers. So we'll see if that trend continues here for the Whalers, and they sure hope it would, as Jets trying to continue to help that trend continue by adding another goal, as Berto got out of the zone, re-enters, and as Rojo taps up, I think we're gonna get a penalty here. And actually, it's going against Tiger Guard. I believe that will be 2 minutes for interference. 30 seconds, rather. First penalty of this series. Let's see if the Scorched can capitalize. Rojo versus Birdo in the face-off circle. And off the draw, Rojo got it on net, but Oil turns it aside. And so Birdo's gonna try and come through center shorthanded. Birdo to the near side, dangling around Rojo, got the shot away, but Tardis made the save, and it comes back across. Birdo, and that's gonna be sent into his own bench. This is gonna be a penalty against Rojo for delay of game. And so the refs make the right call there, and this will give the, it would technically be an even strength goal should the Whalers score here, but at the same time, technically they have a man advantage. Across, Oilerator lets go, and that one ricochets off the post. Birdo bringing it back to the far side face-off circle. Across for Oilerator, and that shot again hits the post. And the penalty killed, and now they are officially on a power play with a two-man advantage. Tiger, and there could be an interference call on Tardis, but no call, and the puck goes in. Power play goal for Birdo. Assisted by Oilerator and Tiger Guard. 5 seconds remained on the Rojo penalty, which will be ended now. But it's now 2-0 for Hartford. Oilerator getting through. Turned aside by Tardis. Keeping it alive was Birdo for the moment, but Rojo breaking in. Here's Birdo all alone. Or Rojo, excuse me. But Birdo knocked the puck away. And now Oilerator through center. Couldn't be defended by Rojo, but too little too late in the period for that. And now a swipe after the whistle between Tardis and Birdo. And Tardis and Birdo might be going at it here. The two of them throwing some fists, and I think we got ourselves a fight. Tardis versus Birdo, and these two will take penalties here. Tardis, so far, Tardis getting a couple good licks, as does Birdo, and Birdo's gonna end up winning that fight. Both will be sitting for a full minute in the sin bin, think over their life choices, and then once they've had that minute to think over their life choices, can return to the playing surface once more.
Frick.
Flashee, what did you think of that first period?
Well, obviously, the Whalers dominated, and I think that the Scorched are trying to do something here to rally their team, but it's not going to quite work in their favor, as now the Whalers technically are on a 2-on-1. So,
Fighting the calls?
What's that?
I said fighting the calls.
Oh, yeah, yep. And let me write that down here. So,
neither team picks up the instigator, but either way, both guys will be off for fighting.
would those
As
be
you heard Wes McCauley say.
would those be first period penalties or second period penalties?
Technically first, because it was first intermission.
Okay. So Birdo.
Because if it was post third period, it would still probably be third period and not overtime if a game
True.
ended.
Good point. So here we go.
That's my line of thinking. Period number 2.
Oh.
About to get underway. Rojo doing well in the face-off circle for once, but lifts that puck just a bit too high, finds itself in front of Jets on the Hartford Whalers bench, so we get a stoppage of play and a face-off. Having issues there?
They're right. It should be a 3v1. But I don't know.
It technically should be. But I don't think that it's fair because I think all season because we've only had 3 and 3. I think that what it should be is if both teams have enough for substitutions with a player in the box for fighting, then both teams can do so. But if neither team has enough, if one or the other doesn't have enough, then it should remain even strength. Well, that found a way in. And so now it's 3-0. So Rojo's not faring well so far in this game. We'll see if this is a trend that continues in this series. Rojo lost to Oilerator, and now Oil gonna get in. Rojo not letting him get on net, and now knocked off the puck was Rojo, but the Whalers couldn't get a shot away. Rojo defending against Joes, and now Oilerator gonna come across. Rojo making the save, and he'll clear the zone. Rojo through center, all alone. Here comes Rojo. Chance, scores! Rojo! 3-1! He just played both Joes and Oilerator 2-on-1 and managed to get through both of them. What a play by Rojo! Off the draw, Rojo gets through again. Can he recreate the magic that got the first one? And no, he can't. Jets gets through. That's going to be a penalty. And I think this will be a penalty shot. And now Rojo going after Jets. The Scorched taking undisciplined penalties here. I think it'll be a penalty shot due to the fact that a power play would result in Rojo in the box. So Jets gonna bring it in, trying to push it, couldn't. Now he's gonna get in, looks over his options. Rojo comes out and he plays it, so this will be blown dead. So, no penalty shot from Jets. Face-off should be in the Shenandoah zone because it was, in fact, a penalty, but it will not result in a power play. So Rojo's got to be careful how he plays this face-off, because if Tiger can get a shot off, he's got a pretty good shot at making the net here. And as the puck drops, Rojo actually wins the draw and he gets through both. Here comes Rojo, all alone. Chance, and that went wide. I believe there was a stick from either Jets or Tiger that directed it wide of the net, but nonetheless, Rojo got through both of them. And now the puck comes out of the zone. Breakaway for Jets. And that's going to be another penalty against Rojo. But that time it's necessary.
1 second left on the fighting majors.
Both players in the penalty box want out, but they won't be let out because their time has not expired just yet. It'll be a penalty shot for Jets, and that's going to be stopped by Rojo, so no goal.
So
and that is the first penalty shots, I think, ever in this league, both taken by Jets, and he's 0 for 2.
That's right.
Face off in the Shenandoah zone. We'll see if Rojo can play this as masterfully as he did the last time, or if Jets will capitalize off of an offensive zone face-off. He won't. Rojo clears the zone, and now both teams get a man back. Knocked off the puck there was Rojo, getting it back in on the Hartford Whalers, and Berto on a breakaway, scramble in front of the net, and Rojo somehow keeps it out. The Whalers calling for a penalty, but none to be had. Tardis got it up to Rojo. Knocked off by Jets. He tries to turn around. Big hit there by Rojo. Bird trying to get a piece of Rojo. And now the puck comes back in. Shot there saved by Tardis. Came back to the blue line, but held in by Berto. Berto plays it to the far side. Jets getting a shot away, and it ricocheted off the post again. Both players regroup, and now a penalty coming up to Rojo, and I believe this will be a... How would that be a too many men on the ice penalty? Ref, I think playing a little bit of... Either having a little bit of fun or misclicked, but it's going to be an interference penalty against Rojo, and this will put the Scorched in a bad spot. Flashee.
Uh-huh. What?
What are your comments so far?
Well, the Scorched are playing very carelessly. I guess really that's the only thing you can do. If they're on the breakaway, just take that hit, get a penalty shot or a penalty. But still, not going good for them so far, obviously. They're only down by 2, and as they say, a 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey. So we'll see what happens.
Berto hit it with his hand. Surprised that there was no hand pass called, but we play on. Berto was turned aside by Tardis, and now he regroups. Berto trying to find a teammate, Tiger, but Tardis gets a stick on it. Kept alive by Jets, and that shot turned aside by Tardis. Seems that the Whalers are taking a little bit too much time trying to set up plays, and it's allowing Tardis to get into the position that he needs to be to make these saves. If the Whalers want to get another goal here on the power play, they gotta hurry things up. And as I say that, the penalty gets killed off. Rojo had a shot, but was knocked off the puck and also overstepped it a little bit. Puck comes into the zone now off of the Hartford post, and it's played here by Jets. Rojo blocking it and keeping it in. Centered there. Puck comes back out. Rojo knocked off it again. Berto gaining the zone. Jets. And he's taken out by Tardis, and now Rojo on a breakaway. Here comes Rojo. Shooting. Scores! Back to within 1! Rojo Guapo just split the D and scored another brilliant goal. And that's exactly what I said in the pre-show. Rojo is capable of taking on probably a lot of the Hartford Whalers with a teammate. And so these Shenandoah Scorched might have a shot thanks to Rojo. And we could see the very first game that a team scores first in and loses. Tardis having to play some good defense, shot off the post there by Berto, and centered back for Oilerator. Knocked off it by Rojo, Berto firing, and it hit the post, rebound, and finds the back of the net. It's back to 4-2. And Oilerator gets the second goal of this game with 1 second remaining in the period. And that will do it for the second period. Berto going after Tardis again. Will there be any supplementary action? Tardis gonna end up on the Hartford bench. More fisticuffs ensue. But it seems that neither player gonna pick up a call here. Now, one of the things that I did notice from the play so far in this series, in this game, in fact, is that if the Shenandoah Scorched don't take penalties, they have a genuine shot at making something happen. However, if they take penalties, then they lose that one of their guys, especially if it's Rojo. Then the Whalers have a pretty good shot at scoring if they choose to play the puck quickly, so as to not allow the netminder to get into position. In this period, it seems Tardis to take the face-off against Oilerator, and winning it is Oil. They get in. Tardis trying to play defense, and that gets through. Scores! Oilerator unassisted. Got through, and Rojo was out of position to make the save. Flashee, could there have been possibly a screen?
I don't know, actually. Because hold on.
A screen? Well, what I mean is, possibly could there have been a player screening the netminder that impaired his vision?
Yeah, you know what? There might have been. Sorry, I was focusing on that. Make sure it wasn't offside. There was just a lot of people scrambling in front of the net at that point, and it was kind of hard to tell. I definitely think his vision was blocked a little bit, and that's what led to the goal.
Well, it's perfectly legal so long as there's not contact that prohibits the goaltender from making the save. So no harm, no foul. It's 5-2. Rojo, and that is definitely not going to count. There's no way that goal counts. Because I definitely saw Rojo get knocked out of the net there. The league will definitely take a look at this for review, and they determined straight away that it's going to be disallowed, but obviously going to have to go to a bit of a review. And now the Whalers chanting "Ref, you suck," even though the hometown crowd is definitely praising the refs at this point in the game. So the call on the ice is no goal. And here's the call after review.
After video review at the Situation Room in Toronto has determined there is goaltender interference. We have no goal.
And so the call stands, no goal. So Tiger and Tardis in the face-off circle, and winning it are the Whalers. Berto gonna come through. The goal would have made this game a 6-2 lead, but now it's back to 5-2. Well, so much for 5-2. Jets finds the back of the net, assisted by Berto, and it's back to a 4-goal lead. Seems that both teams complaining of lag. We get a whistle. We're gonna try and get things sorted out here. I think so. It looks like all of the fans are going to be forcibly removed from the game. And now and now the Hartford Whalers teammates uh, chatting to themselves. It seems that if anything, the way possibly to defeat these Hartford Whalers is to try and maybe get them to turn on themselves, since it has always seemed, as long as this group of guys has been together, that they've always been competing against each other for personal stats. So possibly a way to turn them against each other is to get them to focus more on their personal stats than necessarily the game. We'll see if the Scorched can do so. Tardis won the draw for the first time in this game, but he turned it over for Oilerator and Joe's, gets through, and Rojo directing it away from danger. However, the Scorched definitely going with a more aggressive approach. They clear this puck here, but definitely leaving that net empty, and this is going to be a penalty here. And that's actually going to be 2 to Rojo, because he just hit 2 different players off that puck. This is definitely going to be 2 penalties against Rojo for interference. But it just seems that throughout this game, throughout this period, the Scorched definitely playing a more aggressive play style, leaving their net wide open to play the puck away to try and get the puck out quicker. But the problem is when they turn it over, they find themselves without a player guarding the net, and so the Whalers are able to easily capitalize, finding an empty net, and that's the risk you take, putting 2 guys on the puck and leaving a wide open net. Tardis wins the draw against Oilerator, and it comes back across. Tardis trying to get through Jets, and so far he's successful, but there he was knocked off the puck a couple of times. All clean hits, but doesn't get even remotely close to the net there. And that is something that the Scorched need to improve upon, is when they see their chances, that they don't get those chances very often, but when they do get those chances, they need to capitalize on them and definitely make something happen with them. Get through the Whalers defense, I don't know, but it just seems that they can't seem to capitalize. Dangerous play! The first save was good, but the rebound is a Tiger Guard goal. Seven to 2. And we could see a series blowout almost as bad as Hartford San Francisco last year. Rojo back to his usual win the face-off, get pucks deep, but he's unable to do so. Joe's bringing it back in. The shot hit Tardis somehow. He's able to make the save even though it went off the inside of the post. And somehow the Scorched managed to get through. Breakaway for Rojo on an empty net, and he's knocked off it. No call from the referee. It was a hit from behind. That definitely could have benefited the Shenandoah Scorched, but instead it results in Joe's coming back the other way and finding the back of the net for the 8th goal of this one. bad call by the, or missed call, I guess, by the referees, but even despite a missed call by the refs in one of these series, you got to deal with what you're dealt. And it seems that the Scorched not doing so well with how this game has been called. It's 9-2. We'll see if they can make. Well, it's now in Mercy Rule territory. First, that Mercy Rule has been seen in a playoff series in the history of the BHL, and it's not a good look for the Shenandoah Scorched. And it's going to be a 9-2 final for the Scorched, or in favor of the Hartford Whalers for game number 1. And now everybody going at it post whistle. Now the fight has officially begun. I think there's definitely going to be some penalties handed out here. I'm not going to even try and keep track of them because that's not my job. So good luck, Flashee. With a final score of 9-2, the Hartford Whalers head home with a shot at clinching this series in their own building.
Both guys, 5 minutes each for fighting! Both guys, 5 minutes each for fighting! Both guys, 5 minutes each for fighting!
So thank you for tuning in. We will see you in the next one.